Hello, and welcome to Planetwise channel. In today's episode we are going to know more about Scope 3 emissions as defined by two leading authorities on climate action, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, and the Greenhouse Gas Protocol. Scope 3 emissions are a crucial piece of the climate puzzle, and understanding them is essential for effective climate action. So, let's get started. Significance of Scope 3 emissions. Why do Scope 3 emissions matter so much in the context of climate action? As per IPCC and GHG Protocol, Scope 3 emissions often make up the largest portion of an organization's carbon footprint. Addressing these emissions is vital for achieving sustainability goals. Regulatory compliance and alignment with global climate objectives. Categories of Scope 3 emissions. Scope 3 emissions are not a single entity. They can be categorized into 15 different groups, as outlined by the GHG Protocol. These categories help organizations identify and address specific emission sources. Some of the key categories include purchased goods and services, transportation and distribution, business travel, employee commuting, and the end-of-life treatment of sold products, measurement and reporting. Start by identifying the most significant sources of Scope 3 emissions in your company's value chain. Collect data on these sources of emissions. This data can come from a variety of sources, including suppliers, customers, and industry databases. Choose a method for calculating your Scope 3 emissions. The most accurate method is the supplier-specific method, but it can also be the most time-consuming and challenging to implement. The alternative methods are spend-based and activity-based. Calculate your Scope 3 emissions. Once you have calculated your Scope 3 emissions, you can use this information to identify opportunities to reduce your emissions. Strategies for mitigation. The key to mitigating Scope 3 emissions is engaging and collaborating with the suppliers to reduce the emissions associated with tier products and services. Optimizing their transportation and distribution network to reduce fuel consumption along with designing for sustainability play a big role in reducing emissions across the value chain. This can involve using recycled materials, reducing the weight of packaging, and making products easier to repair and recycle. Real-world success stories. To inspire us all, let's explore some real-world success stories of organizations that have effectively tackled their Scope 3 emissions. DoorDash has reduced its Scope 3 emissions per delivery by 30% by encouraging Dashers to adopt e-bikes. Okta has reduced its Scope 3 emissions by 50% by working with its suppliers to reduce their emissions. Okta has also invested in renewable energy and energy efficiency measures to reduce its own emissions. Conclusion and call to action. Measuring Scope 3 emissions can be a complex and challenging task, but it is an important step for companies that are committed to reducing their environmental impact. Share your thoughts, ideas, and experiences in the comments below, and let's work together to reduce Scope 3 emissions and combat climate change. Thank you for joining us today on Planetwise channel as we explored the significance of Scope 3 emissions through the lens of the IPCC and GHG Protocol. If you found this video informative and enlightening, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content on sustainability and climate action. Together, we can make a lasting impact.